Morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Just gonna quickly set up the lighting and everything. Yeah, unfortunately, OBS had like an update to roll out, so I just let it update, and the stream's starting a little bit late. But hope you guys are well. And I can't get my lighting right. How's everyone doing today? Got quite a lot of work done this week myself. So looking forward to hopefully being not too busy work wise next week. Uh, as you guys know, I am like an external auditor, so had some statutory deadlines today. Not today, yesterday. Got them done. We'll have a few more next week, but yeah, hopefully not so stressful. TC is active. That is correct. You can see it for yourself. Maybe the camera's like too high, but anyways, we can sort that out. How's everyone doing, just in general? Guardiola Spurs defender. I mean, are you free hitting or are you wild carding? I'd probably actually go Guardiola on a wild card, and I would feel quite comfortable about it. Hi, Fran. Jason says, Rotor, Morning Star, João Pedro, Evan Nilsson. João Pedro, I'd say. Still, home game. All the usual caveats apply there, I would say. Start Trufe or Anderson. For me, I'd start Trufe, to be honest. Hey, he said, early bird gets the worm. Thank you, Dream Brother 22. Very kind to call me the GOAT. Hi, Guardiola or Spurs defender. I've literally read that already, and I've already answered. I think for this week as a free hit, I would go. I'd probably go triple City attack, and then maybe like Spurs defense, like almost like as a stack. But if you were asking me like if I was gonna build out a wild card, probably should go Guardiola. Triple captain or free hit. Triple captain for me. But I mean, it really just depends on your team, right? Like you want to weigh up like what that's going to do to your team going forwards. Oops. What's going on with this screen here? Hopefully that works. I actually forgot I need to set up my draft teams as well. Something I need to do. Best free hit team. We can discuss that. Yeah, I did bench boost last week. Can we see a template free hit? We can do that too. They're really quite cold on NJ, probably going with Elliot Anderson, then using the funds to get Guardiola wildcard. What's making you cold on NJ? I'm kind of curious to know your thoughts. Bob Stark, hi Fran. Tarko Guardiola on a wildcard. I would still go Guardiola. I think there's a bit of a cut rate thing there in terms of you have someone who's so good on paper, a lot cheaper than he should be. So yeah, I think Guardiola's nice. I don't think Tarkovsky's bad, really. I mean, the reason why I suggested both options on my wildcard video is because they're both good. I'm just trying to read some news. I don't think there's anything controversial. Obviously, like if we think about the teams today, right? City plays at 3 p.m. So I doubt we'll get like a perfect predicted lineup, but I really don't think it's a controversial lineup whatsoever. There's so many injuries. You'd literally have to play Bernardo Silva ahead of Reinders or Foden for us to almost even have a single issue within our FPL teams. I don't think that's likely. I think Reinders getting the EFL Cup rest is huge. I think Foden coming off a bit earlier is huge. He's also young. Like that has always been an impact in terms of how Pep sorts people's minutes out. So yeah, I really wouldn't be worried. Really would not be worried this week. Mateta over ADH, you mean? I wouldn't do it. It's West Ham at home. I'd rather do it over Anderson, if I'm honest. You're starting Dewsbury Hall over Paqueta outcomes. It's just a home versus away thing. A West Ham team looking pretty poor thing as well. To kind of add insult to injury. Why does nobody talk about Saka? I mean, he's literally on my wildcard draft on YouTube. So I don't think there's much that people are missing. But at the same time, you can still go Foden. You can still go other picks in the game, right? So yeah, something to think about. I personally think it's very close between Anderson, Mateta, and Paqueta. But I also try to think like, what's the like? If I think they're very close, anyways, I might as well just choose the outcome that's probably going to be the most beneficial for my team if I pick the different players. Um, you know, like a Virgil clean or an Anderson independent clean, Dewsbury Hall getting a clean even, which probably means Paqueta blanks, right? Those kind of things. You're probably going to start with Richarlison 2.4 in the bank. Yeah, look, if you have a lot of free transfers booked, I think there's always a case for why don't I go for a free hit-ish looking team that at its core is still a very, very good long-term team and then just build on top of that. So I totally get that kind of idea. In terms of other members' chats, Aaron Elb just got back from the bar at 3 a.m. in Chicago. What's good, Fran? I actually just respect the dedication to get back from the bar and get back to business with FPL. But yeah, I mean, I have some morning coffee with me. I'm pretty exhausted. Still slept pretty late last night because I watched one battle after another. Pretty late into the evening. So I think I watched it, say like 7ish to like 10ish. Had a good time. Yeah. Um, two from Njai, Wood, and Gakpo. I'd probably still just go Njai and Wood. Like, there's a small chance that I think Wood can still start this week. I think you take it over this weekend. Um, hey, JWavy, nice to see you around. Anish, thank you so much for the super chat. Fran, goalkeeper Raya. Yep, makes sense. Defenders, Senesi, Verto, Chalaba. Yep, all makes sense. Midfield, Gakpo, Bruno, F as a Semenyo Kudush. Holland. Oh, you got Igor Jesus. I'd probably start Igor Jesus over Eze. I think that's the only thing that I would over Eze or Gakpo. I'd probably still do it over Eze. It's a close one though. I think it's between Eze and Gakpo there in terms of benching someone. I'm not in love with Gakpo like long term now. I just think way too early subs are happening. So my concern though is like Odegaard could be back in the team and suddenly Eze's minutes are also pretty reduced, right? And it's Newcastle away, so why don't you just play Gakpo over Eze? Start Paqueta or Munoz. I'd probably go Paqueta, but I get your point in terms of Munoz goes big against big teams, but he's also most likely going to lose his clean sheet, right? So I don't think you need to be that worried about Munoz if you really think like he's going to get an attacking return. Like the idea that Liverpool won't get a goal is not something I guess I'm bought into. Dominic, thank you so much for the super chat. Gakpo to Bruno -4. Got Holland right. I think it's worth a -4 personally. This is a really good Bruno game. This is Brentford away. Brentford still look really poor. Yeah, fine. Gakpo's a decent pick, but you can already see the minutes are reduced. it's a pretty tough match in terms of Crystal Palace away. I would definitely go for that move. Um, did watch Anderson versus Betis too. He created 5 chances. Yeah, I mean Anderson's playing really well, and he always has, in a sense, right? Also has the most forward passes in the final third. Yeah, he's just going to be a constant fixture of that team. I think even under Ange. Um, Consistent stack menu. Um, Paqueta instead of Dewsbury Hall for your team. Yeah, he's on penalties. But at the end of the day, God, the team strength is just toilet right now. I'm probably still going to keep Paqueta for Brentford at home and Leeds away even. But I think Everton away is like a particularly poor match as well. Um, yeah, there's nothing really much to be said. It could end up going poorly, but I really don't mind within the context of my own team going Anderson, going Paqueta, going Mateta. Um, all would work out quite well for me. Gakker's cut in gimmick has been figured out. I mean, like also like if you think about his returns this season, and I was reading some sort of tweet in the morning about how Gakpo apparently passes the eye test, but um, I don't think he does. Like in the sense that okay, Liverpool just haven't themselves. But yeah, like most of his returns this season are kind of like gifted assists in a sense, where it's like the teammate works the goal himself, as opposed to Gakpo's like creating a quality cut in or something like that. And then yeah, obviously there's the cut inside aspect of the game. Um, Elliot or Watkins to the bench, definitely Elliot. Rohits. Hi Fran, on a wild card, already used bench boost. Would you recommend Foden slash Saka plus with Charleston instead of Gyok plus Stack and get Gyok next week? Honestly, I would gamble Foden plus for Charleston. That's insane. Yeah, very JP. Yeah, just basically fraudulent assists. Please advice on my free hit team. Sells Tarkovsky. Yeah, you know what? Let's just build a free hit team because people have been asking. Oh, I'm logged out. That's nice. Let's just go Vicario. Bit of a tough one because I think what people are actually predicting that Poro's out, which is a bit shocking, but yeah. Might still revisit Dewsbury Hall, but I'll go Reinders and Holland. Probably think that's the way to go. Guardiola's not too bad on a free hit. So it was like hmm, I think maybe like you would probably still want to go Romero. I know people will take issue with me dropping Zanesi, but it's also a case of you just want the outcomes to be correlated, I guess. Keep Bruno, drop these guys. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like, would you go Van de Ven and just like embrace the triple up, or would you go like full on Everton defense and just like hope for the best with that situation? There's also the case of just simply going for Forest. Like, I think you could just go Nico Williams at this point. Maybe that's what we do. I don't think this is absurd, but I don't know if I can like one can actually afford this team either. So uh yeah, I mean let me try build it out anyways. This way we can still get Kudus in the team. Who honestly I still prefer it to Xavi at this moment in time just because of minutes. But would we go 3-5-2? I think we would. Yeah, because I don't like any fours this week. Really. Especially with the news that we're like no, we actually have to go with Charleston, don't we? Yeah. Sorry, like he's the one forward I would definitely go. So no Kudus means we should be shopping for Enzo, I'd say. I would think he's on penalties this week. kind of worth gambling, I'd say. Something like this as a core, I think makes sense. So the idea, right, is if I just take out this guy too, triple City, triple Spurs, double Nottingham Forest defense versus Sunderland, who still actually honestly aren't a very good offense, but have been proven to be a very solid defense. I just think this is a good fixture on paper if you want the clean sheet, right? This is one of the best clean sheet odds this week. If anything, I think it still is the best clean sheet odds on offer after the Man City game. So yeah, I mean there's also like you could go Tarkovsky plus another defender as well, which I don't really mind. Like I think it could be either or. I would just like I tend to just like backing correlated outcomes in the sense that okay, if I'm gonna back one team, I'm gonna back most of it. Um I think Enzo alone is nice, and Jai alone is nice. Like maybe you don't want to go triple city attack, but I think I would. This is probably the team that I'd make 3-5-2. Will there not be any double game week teams this season? I mean, there absolutely will be double game week teams this season. It just seems very unlikely at the first half of the season for us to actually get a double game week. That's basically what we're saying. Um, so yeah, and to round out, obviously, this like, I mean, if you actually needed budget for this week, because we might have to discuss that as a topic. I don't know. I mean, just like put you in there, and then you've got enough money to get a really good defense. Like if it's gonna be honestly like Tarkovsky first sub is mental good. Um, you know, I would just like I know a lot of people just like building the max team. So like what maybe I play Tarkovsky over Milenkovic, but I don't. Yeah, I mean I don't really mind playing Milenkovic over Tarkovsky if you just want to back like one clean sheet outcome. But you can equally just do drop Milenkovic into your first bench, have Tarkovsky, Nico, Romero, and that's probably quite strong as well. Up there with Senesi. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend. As far as my team, right? Let's just leave it at that. All right, let's see what chat is saying. Yeah, Frederick, I think definitely Elliot to bench. I don't think that's within question. Jumbo 22, Ryan Dubravka, Gabriel, Tarkovsky, Senesi, Guardiola, Anderson, Strong, Reiner, Semenyo, Anderson, Bruno, Caicedo. Interesting. Okay. JP, Viking, Richarlison. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, Caicedo is going to be a nice little slow ticker, and I can't really, yeah, I can't really deny, I guess, that some of these picks are just amazing. Evening from New Zealand, Fran. Any Holland injury news? Nope, there's no news. I think he's ready to play. I think he should be starting. I don't think there's any concerns. Dominic says he's done the move. Prefer Bruno over the next two. I think that makes sense, honestly. Like, and it's not even about the next two. It's about the next however many games you have in FPL. Because Bruno doesn't really need to be sold this season. Like if you really think you're going to sell Bruno versus Liverpool away, fair play. I just don't see myself ever selling him. Like even amongst the most mediocre of fixture runs, I think I would still own Bruno because I think the game in a sense was almost built around him a little bit, where they're kind of like foolproofing how bad he can be as a pick. Like he could drop a stinker and still drop you 4 points, which yes, of course he's an expensive player, but um, there's still the ceiling aspect to him. Um, sorry, did I miss the super chat? Sorry, Arthur. So let's go. Lever content, keep it up. If you had two free transfers right now, what would you do? Okay, that's a fun question. Hmm. I think I would go out of Mateta and Paqueta. So, um, okay, let's go Scarlet 4.4. Okay, just in case I want to triple up on Chelsea one day, which seems improbable. So maybe let's just go Q. See what I can do. I think I would just do this, honestly. because I would just play 3-5-2, right? Yeah. And like Foden for like 2 weeks sounds super fun. And that also means I can upgrade Dewsbury Hall next week, right? Um, to someone else potentially. That's probably what I would do. But thank you for the question. Um, yeah, so I think it shows you sometimes how, for example, let's say if I was on a wild card, right? Like those are the type of moves that I would make. But at the same time, I think if I'm one game week along and I miss the Foden versus Burnley at home game, I don't feel so bad about owning Paqueta. I don't feel so bad about owning Mateta. I don't feel so bad about owning Paqueta necessarily probably after game week 7, because obviously game week 7's a bad game too. So like if I come to this team with game week 8, right, I would feel quite good about Brentford at home. I'd feel quite good about Leeds away. And similarly with Mateta, like I would feel okay about game week 8. I would feel okay about game week 7, probably not so okay about game week 9. That kind of thing. Um, Hayden, thank you so much for the super chat. Hi, Fran. Good luck this week. Should I triple captain Holland or bench boost Sanchez, Munoz, Consa, King? I would just triple captain Holland. Sanchez is nice. Munoz isn't. Consa, no. King, probably not either. So yeah, I'd probably just take the triple captaincy. Mystic Andrea, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, Fran. York, Miley, Arsenal defense, or Richie and Jai, an Arsenal defense. Interesting. I guess my question is, do you have 8 attackers or 7 attackers in scenario 7? So for example, is it 7 or 6, if you get what I'm saying, or is it 8 or 7? If it's 8 or 7, then I would just go the I'd probably actually still go Richie and Njai, honestly. And figure a way out of that hole. Preferring Foden over Guardiola on the triple up? Yeah, yeah, I really do. I think even the Knicks game, right? If you, let's say, like had like, okay, if I had 2 free transfers, if I had 1 free transfer, I'd go Guardiola. Right? Think about it. Like I'd just upgrade Lacroix. But if I had 2 free transfers, actually I can't upgrade Lacroix because I've got 0.7 in the bank. Probably would be a Virgil upgrade, which isn't that nice. Like ultimately, I guess I'm not fixing pieces of my team that I don't love, but yeah. I probably would consider Guardiola a touch more if I wasn't super happy with my defense. Whereas I would say the flimsier positions in my team clearly are still going to be within the midfield and forward. Start Richards or Rutter? I'd start Rutter easily. Wish I could have Foden this week. Yeah, same Frederick. I don't know. I am really 2 free transfers away from him. I'm not even 1 free transfer away from him. And I think I still had to sell Thiago at the end of the day. Like I was sort of thinking about it. Like if I had, for example, kept Thiago in my team this week, but sold Mateta and Paqueta and took a hit, yeah, sure, the team would look a little bit better on paper, but then I'd still have to fix Thiago in the long term, and he's just an annoying pick to own. Whereas if I now make Thiago Holland, then I've got much more flexibility. Where with 2 free transfers, Mateta and Paqueta can always be 2 good players. So I think that's the positive there. We have the same startup, but you have Njai over Dewsbury Hall. Yeah, that's just an upgrade. Also, how do you have Njai over Dewsbury Hall? Maybe actually because I guess you don't have Mateta and stuff like that, so that makes sense. Would you bring Joao Pedro on the wild card? I would consider it, but I don't think he's essential. Is Tarkovsky essential for wild card 6? I don't think so. I think you can go Guardiola. Timber or Van Dyke? I'd play Van Dyke easily. JP and Stack or Semenyo and Foster? I'd go Semenyo and Foster. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty jealous of the Richarlison dross right now. That's a lot of value. That's a lot of value this week. If you're in wildcard six, do you think going Foden over Semenyo is too risky? No, I don't think so. Thoughts on Isak on Freya this week? I have no interest. It's still Crystal Palace away. That's a really good defense. No interest. Good morning, Fran. Good luck. Good luck with the triple captain. Thank you. I'm on Captain Holland, but I'm too scared to do it. I guess like what are you scared of? You just scared that his minutes will be low, that sort of thing. Thoughts on his SR on wildcard? I guess if you're putting him on the bench, it could make sense. I mean, if you want to start him versus Liverpool, I mean, fair enough. I don't think he's that good to necessarily consider on the wild card. Like, there's just so many good players with a better fixture this week that you can start with that I think I'd hold in a similar sort of level in terms of quality to him, where I wouldn't really think about Sar on the wild card. Rodon or Alderete, I'd probably go Alderete. Bench Gokres for Mbemo. Yeah, I would do that. Calafiori and Guardiola over Gabriel and Tarkovsky. No, I prefer Gabriel and Tarkovsky if I'm honest. Mbemo or Semenyo, I'd still go Semenyo personally. But I think that there's an aspect of it too where, like, if you think about it, I understand why someone would want to go Mbemo, because if you, let's say, are, for example, in my position, Semenyo is 7 points. Well, okay, let's not my position. My position is, if you see on the list form here, I bought Semenyo at 7.4, which was actually a bit late, right? In the grand scheme of things. But I think if you were someone who was, let's say, wildcarding this week, you probably would have bought Semenyo at 7.6, maybe. Like, I can just see why someone doesn't really want to be invested into Semenyo and actually just wants to go for some other pick, because of course this guy is now massively, massively owned. And you want to take on that 50.8% ownership. So I understand the logic of going against Semenyo on the wild card. I think, once again, it's always that thing we discuss in terms of risk appetite. Like, if someone was to go no João Pedro on the wild card, I think that would make a lot of sense, to be quite honest with you. You're effectively creating a wild card where you're just actually going against the template. So going against JP, going against Semenyo does allow you to do that. And I think by going for picks like Mbemo, why not? I personally don't feel like I need to own João Pedro because of effective ownership, but that's personally because I don't care to get hurt by it. Like last season, a lot of the captaincies that I did, I mean, I would have never done them if I was actually worried about effective ownership in terms of like how that drives my decision making. But some people are the exact opposite. Some people don't like playing against that risk because it can be tilting and it can be rage inducing. I guess I don't mind having my weekends ruined on the principle that I actually don't mind the decision. Because yeah, I had a lot of weekends ruined last year. As Semenyo 7.0 game week 1 owner, we're just holding forevermore. Yeah, you're just chilling. What would be better, Saka and Watkins / Bowen or Bruno and Gyökeres? I go Bruno and Gyökeres every day. I think going against Njai is probably better than going against JP for me. If you kind of think about it though, but like Njai isn't. Oh, okay, I see what you mean, because there's less tilt from Njai. Yeah, that's fair. I see the point. What do you think about going with Isak on the wild card? I don't really like it whatsoever. I think it's kind of. I still think he's a bit of a mediocre-ish pick because the minutes aren't there. The minutes aren't there. The penalties aren't there. And Liverpool aren't there equally. I'm not saying he's not going to score versus Palace, by the way. Like, sure, it's Alexander Isak. But I think, like, even game week 7 next week is a poor game. And then, maybe he gets to full fitness, like, at some point soon. But if we're saying no pen share, right? And maybe like 75 minutes a game, I'm not sure if I want to actually own Isak until, like, let's say game week 12, where I think, okay, slightly good run of games for Liverpool once again, because keep in mind they play like Forest, West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds, like, in a schedule, and then suddenly Salah also leaves towards AFCON, right? Which at which point in time we do all own Isak, because it's like, okay, now you've got Penshare at Wolves, at Leeds, at home, right? So I think I would consider Isak a little bit later down the chain. Ubikun, thank you so much for the super chat. Would you take a -4 Salah, Semenyo, Gyökeres to Haaland, and Tillemans to Reinders? Play triple captain or just play free hit? Um, are you taking out? Sorry, you're going Salah to Semenyo, Gyökeres to Haaland, and Tillemans to Reinders. Oh, I see. Okay. Hmm. I so one thing I want to explain is Crystal Palace drawing Liverpool away in the EFL Cup actually really helps anyone who wants a free hit. So I would say that if you feel confident going with Salah going forwards, then just go for the free hit. If you don't feel confident in Salah going forwards, like let's say you personally would like to have a team with, like, just think about it. Like, ignore this week. If you personally would like to have Haaland going against Salah every single week after this, go for the -4, right? Because it's purely a decision on what you're happy with future captaincies. Um, right? Like if I own Salah now, it's always questions of every week after this, and specifically in that Game Week 12 run onwards, am I comfortable going against Haaland? Um, and I think you can justifiably say like Salah could still be better going forwards after this week. So yeah, if you're comfortable going Salah and keeping him, and you want to go against the field a little bit, because that's what it will kind of involve doing, then go for it. No, I understood the question, but yeah, I think that's kind of the decision that you're making. Please rate my team. Plan to bring Saka in next week for Foden and bench boost in Game Week 8. Petrovic is great. Van de Ven's great. Senesi, Anderson, Reinders, very nice. Bruno Kudus, Semenyo. That's a great team. Just buy Salah for United in 2 weeks if you're skeptical and relax, I think. Yeah, that's a fair point as well. Like, nothing says you can't go back in, but I think you can justifiably still free hit, right? Because if you free hit, you still have Salah in 2 weeks' time, and actually you might be in a more advantageous position. Matthew says he's currently rocking a Salah and Haaland squad. Think about getting Salah out to free up some money. I don't think the double up with Saka and Gyökeres is really the way. I think there's a lot of more interesting picks other than Arsenal, like an Arsenal defense. Like, I would still, the way that I'd approach Arsenal is probably still defense first than attack. Like, there's still interesting United mids. There's still even Spurs mids. I guess I wouldn't probably go with Saka plus Gyökeres. Like, I'd rather go Foden over Saka, I suppose. Romero for 1 week punt, I think, makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Salah will probably get an assist this week. I don't think he stops generally because I mean Salah's gonna do well. Like, on fan team, I've just moved into a lot of Salah plus Haaland teams because he's a lot cheaper in that game. Whereas I think in mainline FPL, I'm really not sure if Salah plus Haaland is like the best use of funds at this moment in time. Don't bench Mateta. Yeah, but I think you can say that about Paqueta. You can say that about Anderson. Like, I'm gonna get hurt by a bench either way. I don't really mind it. Like, it's, let it be. Let it be. Because next week, I think within my own team, I probably bench Mateta again, if I'm honest. I think I play Gabriel, Raya, Gyok, Holland, Reinders, Semenyo, Bruno, Senesi, Lacroix, maybe Anderson again. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of the team that I'm going for next week. It's that Crystal Palace versus, like, Everton away. I think it's just a tough match. So I don't know if necessarily I love Mateta for next week. And another thing I need to kind of consider with Mateta is, like, are the European fixtures going to start hurting him in terms of his minutes? The alternative I think that I thought about next week was just simply just going for a transfer into Minte, right? Because I think next week what's juicy is all those United midfielders. So I've seen a lot of people wildcarding, like, next week, or sorry, this week, and they're going for a United midfielder now. And I think that's very justifiable, right? You're just getting in a lot of the value. Like even Foden next week has a great game, so I think that's not really the point. But like I could arguably just go Paqueta to someone and upgrade him next week, or I could just hold Paqueta for like Brentford at home. So it's really a question of, okay, do I actually think I'm going to make 2 free transfers on 8? Do I think I'm going to make 2 free transfers on 9 and therefore have the room to go for a free transfer on 7? Or do I need to relax a bit and just start, rolling some free transfers down the line too? So yeah, something to think about. One of the things with the Spurs fixtures too is they just do get considerably worse. So I think if you're wildcarding, the reason why I haven't really recommended too many Spurs players is, yeah, like eventually, okay, you have Wolves at home, Leeds away, even Aston Villa at home. Let's be honest, like that's a great game now. But then after that, it just gets worse, right? Everton away, Chelsea at home, United at home, Arsenal away, Fulham at home, Newcastle away. That is a horrific run of games, to be quite honest with you, right? The next best game is like game week 15, Brentford at home for anyone like packaging Spurs people in their team. So yeah, something to think about. One narrative I also want to kind of track down eventually is whether Xavi Simons would actually take a penalty. Because if he takes a penalty, then that takes away some value from Richarlison. But I don't know if that's actually very likely to happen. I personally don't think it is. Yeah, I mean, Dream Brother 22. Anderson has absolutely. I believe Fulham have lost 5 games straight to Aston Villa. Um, I don't really necessarily believe it's Watkins per se. I almost just believe it's like, like there are bogey teams that exist, but then like I don't know, records are meant to be broken, as people like to say. And if there's a team that's bad right now, it's definitely Aston Villa. Um, Anderson can still score though. End of the day, right? Thoughts on Donnarumma as a keeper? Yeah, I mean he's the best. I mean the second best 5.5 in the game, 5.6 now, I suppose. So the best 5.6, but would I still go Raya? I would. I'll probably be parting with Romero for Guardiola for longevity. Yeah, makes sense. Van de Ven a better pick than Anderson this week. For this week, yeah, for sure. If it's a tough game, you'd expect Foden to get hooked earlier in this fixture. I think tough game in the sense that, let's say, like, if they're playing against a team that actually is dominating City, Foden could get subbed off. But if they're playing a team that's, let's say, like hard to unpack, like Foden can just stay on, right? Would you play Mateta or Paqueta? Mateta. Close call though, and a bit of dice rolling definitely involved. I'm actually looking forward to playing Lacroix next week. So yeah. Would you start Sar or Rogers? I would still. Okay, I don't want to disrespect Rogers that much, but I mean, poor guy. I think I would just play Rogers on the principle that Sar. Like, I can't see how Sar has amazing minutes this week, right? I just can't. Sure, he's coming back from injury. I think he almost needs to play like 80 minutes for me to think Rogers is worse than him. So I think I would pick Rogers still. Would you start Anderson over Gabriel? No. I tend to want to back it. Like, if I have a double defense and I think it's playable, I would play it more often than playing a single. If that makes sense. Good morning, AFXR29. Nice to see you doing well. So yeah, I need Anderson to reverse history and actually just get a clean sheet versus Watkins, or maybe just score a goal. Something like that. Could get DEFCON as well, and like if Anderson gets DEFCON, then I'm a happy man. I come out of it happy. Hey Kieran, still have Gakpo. I need to see him for a -4 next week. I don't really mind the Bruno swap. A lot of people have asked that question to me. I've actually answered yes. Keep in mind, of course, I'm a manager that doesn't mind taking hits. I'm still analytics. I'm still, I still tend to have really, really good data ranks. Whilst taking a lot of hits, I don't think it's a problem, personally. Thoughts on benching Reinders for JP? Yeah, I would not bench Reinders for JP. Should I play Mbemo or Foden on free hit? I would go with Foden for sure. Should I take the -4 for Salah Haaland? I don't think it's worth the -4, but if you want to just go Haaland long term, I mean, just bite the bullet. By the way, thank you guys so much for supporting the stream. Please feel free to like, um, rate, and subscribe. Rate. I don't even know what am I rating. Hard to say, but yeah, you guys could do that. That would be absolutely lovely. You know, I promise next week that I'll come to the stream with the new background, and it's going to be a lot more improved. But until then, yeah, do apologize. Thoughts on Burn? No emojis, please. You're just not going to get an answer. Um, Thoughts on Burn? I think Burn's fantastic. I've always singled him out as a top pick for DefCon. I think the big question for Newcastle for me is yes, of course, the early doors expected goals conceded is extremely low. They've looked really, really good, but I still want to ask the question of are they really the best defense in town? I don't think so. I still think it's Arsenal. So, my faith in models is also more in terms of with the long term sample size on Newcastle, they're clearly a top defense, and that's not within question. It's just um how good are they really, and how good can they become, and maybe am I missing a trick here? I don't think so. So let's see. Bench Bruno, Wood, NJ, Reinders, Kudus. I mean, I would just bench Wood in that situation. Best replacement for Paqueta was 7.5. I mean, I guess Reinders first of all makes sense. NJ makes sense. Kudus makes sense. Enzo Fernandez also makes sense, but I'd probably have him as fourth in that list. Sorry, I'm just trying to check. I'm trying to check on news. My God. Um, can't even get words out of my mouth. But I just think that the 0.5 saving on Tarkovsky makes more sense for your team. Who? Oh, I see what you mean in terms of burn. Yeah, look, why not? I mean, let's try to think about it, because I'm trying to think about Burns' good fixtures versus Tarkovsky's good fixtures. Now, obviously, this week is this week is inversed, right? It's flipped. Like, part of the reason why people are going Tarkovsky is because you just have such good game week on paper, and then you actually hold someone who just is perpetually good. Um, yeah, so I think it's something you want to consider in terms of just the whole concept of saving the 0.5 is also like, are you getting the same good fixtures out of both players? Um, like, arguably, I'd say no, because obviously it's like this week versus next week. They both have a pretty bad game week 8. After that, it's pretty close. And then we've talked about how the Newcastle fixtures get considerably worse, but so do Everton's to an extent. And then it actually evens out. I'd say like around game week 15 time, like you don't actually mind. But I think actually the value of Tarkovsky is really in the short term. Like it's actually that run between 6 to 11 is like this is just a good run, right? West Ham at home, Crystal Palace at home, City's bad, Tottenham at home is good, Sunderland away is good, Fulham at home is good. Like a lot of these teams actually aren't very good on offense. Like I don't think like I think Crystal Palace are great, but they're probably still. I still think they're quite a cautious team. Like they're still defense first. Obviously they've been able to do it versus the big teams, but part of it's because they're actually able to keep chances down. Tottenham have almost tilted the other way around. Sunderland are clearly that mold. Fulham are clearly that mold. So yeah, I think from an Everton point of view, like if you're asking for clean sheets too, those are the runs of fixtures that I think are really really good for Tarkovsky. So if you're willing to make way with that and you think you have a well-rounded team like around that, sure, go for it. Did I use wildcard yet? Yes, I did. I wildcarded on game week 4, which makes me actually quite happy that I've only used 2 free transfers, and I think I have a very similar-ish team to a lot of people in the wildcard. Obviously, Mateta and Paqueta aren't wildcard picks. Lacroix, I don't think many people are going into him on the wildcard. Obviously not, but I would still say, for the most part, the team looks pretty wildcard proof. Hey Philip, nice to see you. How are you doing? Captain Richarlison or JP? I mean Richarlison for sure. Thoughts on Minty on a wild card? I think the only concern with me is that this week is he even fit? Because apparently he's not been picked on training. You're so fried on wild card. What are you kind of deliberating between? Kudus or Anderson to start? I'd go Kudus every single day of the week over Anderson. I mean, if I had Kudus, I'd slap that guy in my team right now. Um, I need Lacroix clean sheets or Defcon like water next week. Need it in my life. You get me? Um, this actually reminds me. I'm gonna quickly just share my team on the old Twitter. Get the is Gyökeres essential? I would say absolutely not. I own him, and I can tell you that he's not essential. Will there not be a double game week to triple captain? It's pretty unlikely because you need Crystal Palace to beat Liverpool at Anfield, and then you need for the double to actually happen anyways, which actually is an even lower probability. So yeah, I can't really see a double game week happening in the first half of the season right now. Um, guys, did you see what Pep said today? I'm just going to remove that message because that's just not true. Pep hasn't said anything about Holland. There's no news on Holland. He will start today, most likely. All right, cool. Posted. Philip says, kind of casual this year with work and my master's degree, so struggling with Gyökeres, Isak, and kind of want Isak. Yeah, I mean, I can't really back Isak, and I've already explained it. I just think the minutes aren't good enough, right? And like lack of pen share, I think actually does dent his appeal. I would personally, I actually thought I was gonna go Saka this week, but I'd probably tempt myself on Foden on the wild card over the two of them. But if you had to choose one of the two, I guess with some of the JP doubts, I guess you could just go Gyökeres and then actually just forget about JP. Yeah, Holland is starting. Mitoma is interesting. I don't know if I'd have him on the wild card though. Let me have some joy in my life as a Liverpool fan. Just go Virgil, man. Just go Virgil. No, I'm kidding. Last Q on Burn. I promise. Would you start him over Gabriel? No, I wouldn't start him over Gabriel at all. Like, I mean, I need to actually ask the question. Like, think about it, right? If you're actually going to back one defense, why would you be against backing two of them? As a serious question. So you own Raya. Do you almost think that every week you have to go against Raya? Like, if you think about it, if you're going to play double defense and you own double Arsenal defense, why did you buy double Arsenal defense in the first place if you're not willing to go for it, right? Since this is still Newcastle versus Arsenal, and both of them are very likely to lose their clean sheets, would you not rather have the two Arsenal players in almost every single scenario just because you're actually backing one result? Like, do you always want to go for the most average case result? It doesn't seem to make that much sense to me. You really that set on Foden? I don't think there's not much convincing, right? Like Foden, even as a two game week punt, is incredible. You've got Burnley at home, Brentford away, and it doesn't get better than that, really. So if you can roll once and you maybe have some free transfers, you're just going to benefit. Anderson or Gyökeres / João. I'd play Gyökeres over Anderson. I would also probably still play João Pedro over Anderson if I'm honest. Like if I had João Pedro, my team, I'd play him. I had three transfers. You bought Haaland, Semenyo. Should you buy someone from City defense? Yeah, I would consider it. Ooh, saving a transfer and buying Gabriel and Gyökeres makes sense to me actually. More so. Really just depends on whether you actually have a good 11th player. Start Rogers or Sar. I would start Rogers. Kudus or Njai. I would go Kudus. I would actually go Kudus, right? I actually low-key think that, yeah, at the end of the day, if you're buying Kudus, you're not going to deal with an AFCON transfer. And that's kind of a plus. When do you think Mateta gets a rest? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But I can't see it versus Liverpool because I think other people just aren't fit enough. But maybe he actually gets a rest in Europe. What structure would you go with to get Foden? Bruno plus Gyökeres and Foden with no JP? Probably, yeah. Would you not prefer using the triple captain on Haaland versus Leeds at home? I think Leeds are better than Burnley. I think Sunderland are better than Leeds. I think that's the order of the teams that I'd have in terms of the quality of their defense. I think Sunderland's the best promoted defense. I think Leeds after that. And then I think Burnley after that. Burnley have so far been pretty poor. DCL, yeah, DCL could easily be on a wild card draft. I think people are risk averse because clean sheets in one game feels bad. Yeah. Double clean sheet is just naturally a higher EV long term. Because you also need to think about, like, okay, if I'm someone who's betting Arsenal, I'm not betting Arsenal for 1 week only. I'm also betting Arsenal. I mean, you know, in the context of this week, sure, but it's also like, I feel like you'd feel a little bit better knowing that you're going to back double Arsenal defense like many weeks on end. And that was the logic of backing them anyways. And yeah, you hate the Raya pick. You're so firm on Petrovic. I think that's fine. I think that's fine as well. I kind of regret going against Petrovic in my own team. But yeah, I'm basically asking for Raya to break a clean sheet record, and hopefully he can. Salah to Saka or Eze? I wouldn't go Eze at all. I mean, I just don't even see what's the point of going Salah to Saka personally. Or Eze. Bournemouth are just incredible. Salah to Eze or Saka? I've answered that already. Yassine, Bruno plus Foden plus Calafiori plus Petrovic. Or the Vicario path. I'd probably go Bruno plus Foden plus Calafiori plus Petrovic. I don't love Calafiori personally, but, you know, I don't mind that as a sacrifice. Is it necessary to have Liverpool defense? Absolutely not. I'm not wildcarding, so I have Liverpool defense. Given the midweek Champions League fixture and Haaland fatigued, isn't triple captain game week 13 versus Leeds better? Not really. I guess Haaland's just gotten a rest from a midweek game, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'd take, it's still a home game. Burnley is still worse than Leeds. Yeah. I don't necessarily see Leeds as being a better game. Paqueta over Anderson? Say no, Fran. It's, I don't know. I'm not doing it. I think it's close. If you want to go play Paqueta over Anderson, I actually think that's fine. You know, I'm not here to tell you that it's a bad idea because it's not. Like Mateta, Paqueta, and Anderson are all super close. I'm basically, honestly, like truly hoping that Aston Villa stink, you know, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing more to it. Do I feel strong on any of the cheap mids? Strong on any of the cheap mids? No, I think stack is fine. I think would I still recommend Elliot Anderson? He's good, but the forest fixtures are so poor after this. Dewsbury Hall is on 4 yellows. I don't love Granite Shaka that much. I don't love Garner that much either. But Garner is actually pretty good for DEFCON, right? Um, I guess Adam Morton's back, but I don't think I would say he moves me. So yeah, those are the only fives that I like at 5.5. I'd still probably go Elliot Anderson, but would I still go for Elliot Anderson now? Maybe, honestly. I mean, you still get this game week 6 game, right? And he's probably actually going to get a hole this week. Like, if there's a game more set up for an Anderson hole, it's this one. After that, he kind of becomes like similar-ish quality to Caicedo, I guess. But Caicedo's already gotten some price rises too. I don't know how many. Maybe just one. Um, so they're kind of similar-ish, I would say, from here on out. After that, like you kind of have to shop for the sixes. So yeah, like and at that point for me, that's like Reinders basically is still the goat very much so. And maybe Minte after that, but we also don't know whether he's fit for this week. So kind of a tricky decision on the wild card. Bench Gakpo or Watkins this week? I'd bench Gakpo easily. Starting Watkins makes a lot of sense. Do you think Sanchez plays and is nailed? I think Sanchez should play. I was listening to Enzo Maresca's comments on Sanchez, and I don't think he was really implying that there's going to be a benching. Bruno Cunha, I'd probably go Bruno. Fran, can you help me with my... Like, keep in mind, I think the more depth that this United team has up top and the more that they're implementing Sesko, I think the more reduced minutes you're probably going to see for the likes of Cunha and Mbemo. And probably like something that doesn't impact Bruno is that. Kudus are enjoying the wild card. I think I'd go Kudus just about. You think Anderson is playing a lot more advanced under Ange? Yeah. I think people still overrate. I think there's a bit of an overrating in terms of like how advanced someone is positionally speaking versus like, okay, what is this person's like actual baselines? Um, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about like the whole concept of how everyone likes to talk about heat maps and where people are positioned on the field versus like actually does that person get into good goal scoring positions or does that person get into like um I guess good like does that person create a good volume of let's say like shot creating actions or goal creating actions, right? So things that actually are like lead to expected assists. So yeah, that's something I find interesting in terms of like how we have a bit of a dichotomy on that as a discussion point. Like I would just say that markets would probably be quite receptive to changes in positions, but like Elliot Anderson's like outfield goal and assist expectations are still very very low. Um, and maybe like that's if you're someone who like doesn't agree with that, then that's a good chance like to look at things in lines like that and kind of bet. He is on a great trajectory though, and I don't disagree with that. Kudus doesn't go to AFCON, that's correct. All the Ghanaian players won't go to AFCON, so Semenyo won't go to AFCON either. I actually did a tweet recently in terms of the AFCON players, so I can kind of just tell you there's a couple key African players who don't go to AFCON, right? Um, where was my list? I think I posted it a week ago, but it's okay. I did post it a while back. All right, what have I done? I just searched AFCON on my own tweets. Yeah, okay, sorry. So I think the key players that aren't going would be Minte as well. Um, so Minte, Semenyo, and Kudus aren't going to be future AFCON transfers. Is Foden a good differential? Incredible, yeah. Minte definitely has an injury risk. Like I think Instinctive predicted him not to start. Dr. Yazan Abdullah, hey Fran, hope you're well. I'm on wildcard. I have 0.7 in the bank in Mukiele. Should I get Richards or someone else, or should I just keep the money and maybe use it later if I need Salah / Isak in? I would keep the money. I think Mukiele is incredible. Something that I think that people are missing in terms of the Mukiele piece of it all, right, is that game week 8 game is so good for Sunderland. So good. Yeah. Like Mukiele can be played game week 8, game week 10, game week 12, game week 13, I would say. Yeah, so if you don't need the rotation that deeply, Mukiele makes a lot of sense. But if you want to go Richards, I can kind of get it. Crystal Palace unbeaten, beat Liverpool recently in Community Shield. Sure, you want to bench Mateta or Anderson. Yeah, I don't really mind that. Quick free at draft, please. We actually, if you go back maybe let's say an hour, you'd probably find the free at draft. We definitely did it maybe 10-20 minutes into the live stream. You think Semenyo is just getting so expensive? Yeah, he is getting expensive. I don't think you necessarily need him. Anderson just seems like a safe bet for when Senesi inevitably gets injured. I don't think anyone's not going Anderson, right? So if you can go Anderson, I'd go him over Richards as well, to be fair. Would your wildcard draft from my video have changed? A little bit, yeah. I probably would have gone for Foden, I think. Wait, surely I had Foden. No, I didn't have Foden in the draft. I might just change JP to Foden, basically, structurally speaking. And then go Richarlison. I'm such a bad influence. Yeah, just go Foden, bro. The odds are pretty good for Liverpool to concede, but so be it. So be it. The odds are actually decent for, like, honestly, considering it's Anderson versus Villa away. 25% is actually quite high this week. So yeah, I think it's close enough. I don't really mind benching Mateta. I mean, what are the clean sheet odds on the 11-5 model? 11-5.com model, let's say. 23% this week, so quite low. But I don't know. I'll take my chances and hope Villa are bad. We're not scoring more than like 1 to 2 goals today either. I mean, the Crystal Palace are like one of the best teams in the league. I have 2 bets actually on season-long teams. I'm not advertising that you should bet with me. I am just saying, I'm just going to tell you what they are. The only 2 bets that I have for this season is Bournemouth top 6 and Crystal Palace top half. And those are the only 2 team bets that I took this season. The thing is, Aston Villa are bad. So that's kind of why I'm benching Mateta. Sadly. Play with Charleston with Holland or Gakpo and only Holland is forward. Yeah, I would play with Charleston with Holland. You've got Bournemouth top 6 too. Yeah, it's such a good line. If I can say that. You dropped in Jai for Foden and Gyökeres for Charleston. I think that's okay. You've got 8 million left. Should I put in Gakpo, Simons, or Kudus? I'd probably go Kudus first. Saka or Cunha for the next 3 to 5 game weeks. I'd probably still go Saka. Should I sell Gakpo for -4? I can understand backing against Gakpo. Excuse me. Human97 member for 9 months. Thank you so much for being a president as well. Hi, Fran. Who should I play 2 out of the 5? Mateta, Kukurea, Paqueta, Enzo, Anderson. I would definitely play Enzo. I would definitely play Anderson. I think I'd play Enzo Anderson. But I don't really mind Enzo Mateta as well. I don't think I'd play Kukurea over them. So yeah, for me, it's Enzo's locked, and then you just choose the last player. I would personally probably go with Anderson. Part of the reason why I'm going Mateta too is because I'm playing Virgil, right? Like, honestly, at the end of the day, I just want outcomes that sort of benefit one scenario, I suppose. On a free hit, best city defender is O'Reilly. Yeah, I think on a free hit, it's definitely O'Reilly, just because you actually can get more money into it, right? Like, that could even get you a solid draft. I agree. Long term, I'd say Guardiola. So, last minute question. I'm about to change Palmer now. Who do you think? What do you think of Mbeumo over Semenyo? I think that's fine. If you're looking at Mbeumo short term, and maybe you want to sell him, like, let's say, because Semenyo will have some tough games, right? Like, Semenyo will have that patch of, like, I guess City away is actually the only tough game now. Sorry, no, it's City away and Aston Villa away, right? Those are 2 bad games, 10-11. Kubikun, thank you so much for the super chat. Went with free hit. Now you have a headache to go O'Reilly and Foden or Guardiola and Reinders. I'd go O'Reilly and Foden easily. O'Reilly and Foden for sure. Hi, Fran. On wildcard, Raya or Donnarumma. I'd go Raya. Foden or Bruno. I'd go Foden. Honestly, I'd still go Bruno. Richarlison or Gyökeres. I'd go Richarlison. Or Njai or Grealish. I'd go Njai. When Elliot Anderson scores or gets hooked, I mean, he's not going to get hooked at 57. He's just a decent pick. Ooh, Ben Krellin's on the wild card, huh? Very interesting. Philip, thank you so much for the super chat. And Jara Foden this week / short-term pick. Easily Foden for sure. Yeah. Sorry, who should I play 3 out of the 5, not 2? Okay, so we play. Why don't you just play Anderson, Mateta plus Enzo? Philip says bench with 7 makes sense. Bench with 7 is quite nice actually, especially if you go for the Spurs players, like Richarlison. Bench boost game week 9 wildcard draft. Any improvements? I have indeed not gone for the Spurs players, but I've gone for a lot of Leeds players, which are basically the same. Yeah, conceptually speaking, yeah. Keep in mind I own Virgil. Oh, you do own Virgil. I mean, you can play Paqueta if you want. Or you can even play Kukurea, to be honest, just back a Chelsea result. I actually think that's pretty close. Because Kukurea should play good minutes this week. I can't really see why he wouldn't. I can't see a world where Foden is benched. I generally cannot see that world. Am I locked on this team? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much locked. Like part of the reason why I guess I'm benching was headed too is like I would be curious to see like whether he actually gets that substitution like you know, ahead of that midweek match as well. Like if you just think about I doubt there's many situations where they go two up top versus Liverpool, right? So it's also just a question of like if he can get an early sub, could it not be quite interesting? You think he could be benched next week versus Brentford? Foden? No, because all the players coming back are coming back post international break, right? Not before. Foden and Doku both start by City Extra. I wouldn't say that's reliable, but it seems super obvious that they're going to play. Silly to bench Watkins for Dewsbury Hall. Uh, I would say yes. Yeah, I would still play Watkins over Dewsbury Hall, just about. Good morning, Anwar. Fran is captaining Holland instead of TC can hurt my rank if he goes big knowing that EO. I think yeah. So I guess the question is Holland's EO going to be above 200%? I don't think so necessarily. I think a lot of people are wildcarding. I don't see that many triple captains. I think you'll be fine. And also like if he's the best captain, he'll still hurt your rank even more, right? So you're probably locking in this wildcard team. Pretty happy with getting voted in, which I had exactly zero thought until you fully convinced me he's the best pick in the game. I didn't say that, but he's good. West Ham were the first away team to win at Arsenal in Tottenham's new stadium. Yeah, but I don't even believe in these. Like, what is that metric? Like, you know, do I just go for a West Ham player like when people have new stadiums? Like, is that really what we're saying here? Foden instead of Gakpo for -4? Sure. No spamming though. Um, Good morning, Fran. Bruno, Caicedo, or Njai start. Bruno for sure. It means you should only play West Ham players when they play teams in new stadiums. Yeah, yeah, that's true. But that team also has to be undefeated, right? Like also, I don't really care whether West Ham wins, loses, or draws, right? It's also a question of like, is Paqueta going to get a lot a lot going for him? Um, you know, love a good narrative. It is a good narrative. I will give it that. To be fair, it is a good one. Why do you think most people aren't going Saka over Gyökeres? I think there's a valid concern in terms of Saka's fitness, just in terms of like, are we really going to see Saka for more than 5 game weeks in a row before he gets injured again? I can understand people having that opinion. That's fine because it's kind of valid. Robert TG6, would you play Mateta over any of the Kudus and Jai Rangers this week? Absolutely not. No, I wouldn't play Mateta over them. Elliot, good for a wildcard 6. I think he's fine still. We're talking Elliot Anderson, right? Hi, Fran. You're playing to wildcard in game week 8. Okay, should I get Bruno for Wirtz for a -4, or should I keep him in the bench and play Rodgers until game week 8? I would go Bruno. Yeah, I actually would. Because you also have to think that Wirtz actually has a pretty bad game after this as well. Chelsea away, right? So, take that chance with Bruno. Is my triple active? Yeah, it looks pretty active to me. If it's white, or if it's reversed, like for example, a regular captaincy is like black on the outside, white on the inside. A triple captain is black on the inside, white on the outside. So just inverted. What do you think about Isak and Gyökeres? I'm not a huge fan of it, if I'm honest. I just think you're paying a lot more money for someone who's also not on pens. So is there a huge value to it? I don't know. Would I bring in Reinders or Njai this week? Cost aside, Reinders. Hey friend, stack or KDH on wildcard. Probably stack still. Hey mate, would you bring Holland in for Wood, Richarlison, or Watkins? I'd probably take Wood out of my team. Hi friend, I've got Kudus instead of Njai and Saka instead of Gyökeres going. That's fine. I think that's a perfectly fine approach. Kudus or Xavi Simmons? I would still go with Kudus. Hi, Fran. If I own VDB on wildcard for 4.5, would you still sell for Anderson? If you want to keep Van de Ven, I think that's okay. Hi, Fran. Should I go with Paqueta over Mateta? I think that's fine. I literally do not see a huge difference between Anderson, Mateta, and Paqueta this week. Just based on odds, based on like DEFCON, based on pen share. Like when you add it all together, they're so close. I do not care. I'm gonna have points on my bench, guys. I know it. It's fine. You know, I've picked the outcome that I think could benefit me the most, and it might not. So let it be. Do you want to be besties? Yeah, sure. Hi, Fran. Should I go with Paqueta over Teta? Literally read that question. What am I doing? I want to sell for your play Senesi or Big Gab. Senesi. Start Timber or Pedro with hit. I'm so lost. I would just start Timber. I don't think Pedro with the hit's actually that good. You will have points too. It's okay. Yeah, we'll live to fight another day, or whatever that means. I actually forgot to change my vice captain. All right, well that's done. Hopefully with the green arrow. Why go for double Arsenal defense when Palace are probably bound to get points? Go your guts. What do you mean by Palace are bound to get points? And who says Arsenal can't get points though? I'm kind of lost on that logic. I mean, just because Palace scored doesn't mean it has to be Mateta as well. And I don't really see Palace like piling on goals, if that makes sense. Like they never do that, anyways. Um, yeah, like scored 0 goals for Sunderland, 3 versus Villa, but it was Villa. 0 in a lot of those European games. 1 goal versus Forest. Like Palace is not like some sort of team that's going to like absolutely demolish Liverpool with goals. You know, at the end of the day, like I'm backing double Arsenal defense because it's actually going to be a good outcome for my team, and I like the sort of upside of that. Liverpool always concede that's all. Yeah, but Liverpool always concede that's all. Like, what does that even mean? Like, does Mateta score every game? That's all? No, he doesn't, right? So I can't use that as a basis for me saying that I have to go Mateta. Arsenal don't always concede either. Plus, like at the end of the day, too, it's like, you know, like if Mateta doesn't score, he obviously has chances of assists, just like how a lot of the defenders of my team have chances of getting defcons, right? Like Virgil and Gabriel specifically within their teams respectively do get more defcons than the opponent, the other players, like the other center back pair. Choose two, please. Kudus, Grealish, Saka. I'd probably go Kudus and Saka. Play the penalty takers. I'm fine for this week. I am on wildcard and punting on Minte. I will bench boost next week with Dubravka, Richards. Like I would not play Paqueta over Dewsbury Hall this week. I would not play Mateta over Dewsbury Hall this week. Part of it's like priced in as well. Like when you look at goal scoring markets, like that includes the penalty share, right? So I'm not too worried about. Now, everyone does have an opinion, to be honest, but it's like I don't see it as like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, and it's not even like a case of me trusting my gut or something like that either. It's basically just me saying I think Mateta is the most logical play in most cases, like over Anderson, but you know, why not hopefully like back a good Liverpool result. Semenyo Vice needs to happen. Nah, I mean last week I had Bruno Vice and I think he outscored Semenyo. I don't think Leeds away is like that good of a game as people think. I hope so, but we'll see. Is it Mateta better than Gyökeres this week? Not at all. Gyökeres has higher goal scoring odds, and I'm literally just gonna mute you because I don't even know why you're spamming in chat. I think it's a huge pro that, let's say, Gyökeres was actually rested as well within the EFL Cup. Well, not rested. He obviously played coming off the bench, but yeah, like Crystal Palace actually have less expected goals per the markets than Arsenal this week, and in terms of goal scoring odds as well, I think Gyökeres is just a touch ahead of Mateta from what I can see. Just from the latest updates. Yeah. Anytime Gyök is slightly ahead of Mateta. From the latest updates that I can see. TC, thank you so much for the super chat. Tarkowski and Kudus / Enzo or Guardiola and Minte. I would go Tarkowski and Kudus / Enzo because you don't even know if Minte's going to play. Bookies seem to think Leeds away is pretty difficult for most teams. Yeah, because they've been pretty impressive. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's an away fixture. Is Haaland fit? Yeah, he is fit. Thoughts on playing or benching Wood? Honestly, I can see Wood getting benched, but he's still going to play decent minutes of football, right? It's just kind of the end of the road for him. Start Strand Larson or Rogers. I'd probably still go Rogers because it's a pretty mediocre Strand Larson game, anyways. Anderson or Richards. I would go Anderson easily. Start Gyökeres or Van de Ven. I would actually go Gyökeres still. But kind of, yeah, I'd probably find a way to get Van de Ven into your team. Thoughts on Foden? I think he's a brilliant pick. I would love to be a Foden owner right now, but I'm not. Gyökeres or JP? Gyök. Start Semenyo Kudus. Semenyo. Start Lissandro Martinez or Cole. Okay. You've got me there. Thank you so much for the super chat. Your Game Week 6 team sells. Okay. Good week for sells. O'Brien is nice. Senesi's nice. Consta's nice. Njai, Salah, Kudus, Reinders, Evan Nilsson, Haaland, Captain João Pedro. Captain Haaland. Thoughts? Maybe. I think you could chance Spence starting over Konsa. I think could be chanced. I would probably chance that. Otherwise, I think you've got a good team. Good setup. Alderete or Mukiele? I'd go Alderete for nailedness. Why are people so convinced by Gyökeres? Sure, he's not a pick, but almost every wildcard. I agree with you. I don't think he's essential. I only own Gyökeres because on wildcard 4, it kind of made a bit more sense with the Nottingham Forest at home game. And obviously, Saka wasn't around. Like Foden wasn't around as a pick as well. Like just in terms of where you want to spend that sort of money. VDV versus Rodgers, I'd probably go VDV. Will Brennan Johnson start? I'm not sure, if I'm honest. Hey, Fran, good luck for this week. Start Rodgers or Watkins. Maybe Rodgers for the clean sheet point. Watkins. One thing I wanted to actually say in terms of penalty takers as well this season, right? And why the decision is a little bit tougher on a week like this is they did nerf penalty takers, right? So what do I mean by that? If you take a penalty now, you're not actually really guaranteed like triple bonus. So for example, if Mateta takes a penalty and he scores, sure, he gets obviously a goal, which is massive. But in the past, especially last season, he was always going to get that kind of bonus of being a forward and actually scoring, and it counted like an open play goal in terms of bonus. So he now has much less scenarios where he actually gets like max bonus if he takes a penalty, and that's the only goal that he scores within a match. The same goes for Paqueta as well. So they've dropped it to like plus 12. Whereas the baselines for, let's say, a midfielder and a forward open play goal are much higher. So that's why penalties have sort of nerfed the I guess like the ceiling, and then also like the decision making quality of actually picking a penalty taker compared to in previous seasons. And then at the end of the day, you just have to kind of say that, yeah, defenders can get DEFCON now. So I'm no longer comparing like, is Anderson gonna get a clean sheet or a blank? It's also, is Anderson gonna get a clean sheet or a blank, or a clean sheet plus a DEFCON and a blank, and et cetera, right? So that's kind of like added a bit of a nice dynamic to making these decisions, which obviously just means that over the course of the season, you're just gonna have good bench hauls. Like you're gonna have occasionally, I don't know, a Leeds player benched or a Sunderland player benched, or and they can maybe be on 8 points like very very comfortably. Graham Potter sacked. You're joking, right? Yeah, it hasn't even happened yet. Uh, wait, is it at? Okay, I. All right, we've got 25 minutes to react to Graham Potter being sacked. Apparently. Oh my. Okay, that's actually done. What do we do, guys? Do we start Paqueta? Oh man. Uh. um. Yeah, I've seen the memes, obviously. So you believe more in Mateta versus Liverpool than Paqueta versus Everton? Um. What's wrong with that? It's literally Palace at home. I have to start Paqueta now. Dominic, hi Fran, love the content as always. You're on a wild card. Foster plus Saka, Gorkers plus Minte. Keep in mind that Minte might not start, right? He apparently is unfit. So there could be a risk. I know Potter's sacked, guys. I'll think about that in a moment. But yeah, just to answer your question, Dominic, I'd probably go Foster plus Saka. Get the package on the page. Oh man. Hmm. Hmm. It's written in the stars. Protagonist, high Fran, triple cap, Holland Dawn. Only thing I'm thinking is BVD Guardiola. Yeah, I just go Guardiola if you want to. I don't really mind that move. But that does make me feel very happy, but I don't really enjoy. Start Paqueta then. uh man. I don't know. I actually don't know what I would do. Decision paralysis or something like that? The game of risk. Well, so you guys actually believe in new manager Browns, because I actually don't. Bowen finally freed from the shackles of Graham Potter. Yeah, that's true. Get the packet on the pitch. Paqueta's good regardless. Yeah, new manager bounce definitely statistically does not exist. It's already proven, actually. Elliot has been a frustrating buy the last 2 weeks. Does he get a chance today? Is that Harvey Elliott? I can't see it. Starting Paquette as a Fran move. Very interesting. Break the cookies out. I mean, they're gonna have an interim manager. I don't really care. West Ham are still bad, right? It is a Monday game, though. To be fair, uh, Fran, you're ranked 600k in the world. Only difference is yet Isidore and bench boost and yet Thiago. Oh, that's nice. I mean, congratulations to you, anyways, because Thiago is absolutely awful. John, hi, Fran. Start 2 of Gakpo's Senesi. Oh, you've retracted the message. Dewsbury Hall or Isak? Is that a serious question? I'd go Isak still. Isidore, thoughts? I don't really think he's quite worth it at 5.5, but we'll see. I'd go Kudus. Why has Timber been overlooked? It's just always the worry that White can step in. It's not about overlooking anything. It's like, if anything, like, I think we're underlooking like White being able to play at times, right? Start Anderson, Fulham, or KDH? I'd go KDH. You're doing future planning. Can't seem to convince yourself over Isak as he is 10.5, not on pen slash minute slash. Yeah, I agree. Isak is not a guarantee at all. Is Saliba rotation risk? I don't think so. Um, Joao Pedro captain. Hi, Fran. Start 2 of Gakpo, Senesi, KDH, or Porro. Hi, John. I would start Senesi, KDH, I would say. Because I think there were some sort of rumors about Porro potentially being benched, and I don't think you really want to run that risk, unfortunately. So I'd go Senesi, KDH. With Gakpo, I mean, he could actually be a very valid play. To be honest, like Gakpo's most likely going to play. Maybe I'll just go Gakpo, Senesi. Anderson or Munoz, I would play. I would play Anderson this week. Good luck, you. Good luck to you, Doctor, as well. Take care, man. All right. Need to think about. Yeah, I still think Anderson's good. I still think Dewsbury Hall is good. I don't really worry about my team selection. To me, it's like now I have almost like 4 50-50s as opposed to 3. Um, but very interesting news nonetheless. There's no real way you can get the Porro news. I think it's just based on predictions, right? Benjamin, I can't see your chat message in terms of super chat, but thank you for sending that across. Also, CMC Wiki, yeah, sorry for not actually giving you the shout out, but yeah, thanks for the super chat there too. Benjamin, yeah, feel free to drop a message and I'll read it when I can. See it. Thoughts on Van de Ven? Still think he's good. I still think that when you look at Spurs going forward, it's not great. Brown like last year, any hope of playing DCL now that he's on the score sheet? Yeah, I wouldn't quite say joy because he kind of ruined my season a couple times, but I think he's viable. Why would you triple captain, not a double game week? Did you read the rules this season? Captain Salah Reinders. Salah. Heaton, Enzo and Chalaba or Caicedo and VVD. I'd probably go Caicedo and VVD. Yeah, Halter is sacked. That is the news. You know what I'm curious to look at, right? Is how the markets are predicting this Everton game. I want to have a look at that right now before the deadlines here. Oh God. Okay. VVD or Guardiola in Marvel wildcard? I would just go Guardiola. Start Paqueta now that Potter's sacked. I don't think it necessarily makes him better though. If anything, I think Potter actually had a lot of confidence in Paqueta as a pick, as a player. Should I start Rogers given the Porro doubts? Yeah, I'd start Rogers. I mean, I can see more people putting money into the West Ham, but honestly, the lines haven't really moved that much, as expected. Holland starts. Who's confirmed that? Let's go TC. We always were. What about playing Mateta instead of Dewsbury Hall? Hmm. I don't know, actually. I still like Dewsbury Hall. I still think West Ham are poor. FPL newsletter. Nice. Who do you think I should start, Poro, or are we afraid of a potential benching? I think there's a decent one. I don't believe any tweets until Fran retweets them. Nah, I think Holland was always going to start regardless of whoever's saying that. Saka, Gokras, and a wild card, leaning more towards the latter. I think the latter makes sense if you want the pens, all that kind of stuff. Thoughts on Wolves? Will they improve? I actually think so. Also known as will Strand Larson do good? I think he'll be fine for his price point. Rest in peace, Potter. Yeah, that's goodbye for him. Minte for sure over Palhinha. How likely Foden to start? I would say 99%. I can't see him not starting. Foden, Romero, and Stack, or Guardiola, Minte, and Njai. I'd go Foden, Romero, Stack. I've made Fran laugh 3 times now. Fran, start Allison yourselves. You what? I'm generally quite tired. I think I'm going to keep the team the same, guys, if I'm honest. Foden season. Thank you, Mo. Congratulations on Foden season. I'm sad to not be a part of there. Sad to not be at the destination. Um Senesi or Tarkovsky to start? Tarkovsky. When did we get the AFCON 5 transfers? Yep, game 16. Donnarumma or Raya? I'd go Raya. Would you play Anderson or Wood? I'd play Anderson. Start Larson or Paqueta? I'd still start Paqueta, I think, just because you don't really know if like JSL's minutes are perfect, right? I'm saving the wild card as I have training. Are you playing Paqueta? Very interesting. Very interesting. Can Aston Villa score a Premier League goal? That's not a screamer. Big questions being asked today. Triple captain Anderson versus Villa. Stop. Stop. You're making me laugh too much. Part of the reason why I think benching Paqueta makes sense is at the end of the day, you don't actually know whether a new manager would actually want to play Paqueta for 95 minutes at a time. So yeah, lunch cookies or rice. The cookies was a one-time thing, guys. Let's not make it a thing. I think what am I gonna have for lunch? I don't actually know. I'm gonna have a day out with the wife, and we'll see. We will see. Pack is the manager. I see. I see. Yes. Paqueta or Mateta? I'd probably still go Mateta. I think my bench order is fine. It's a fifth. It honestly is just a dice being rolled. Yeah. I would play Dewsbury Hall over all three of them. I think Anderson, Mateta, Paqueta, that is. JP or Anderson start? I'd go JP. Will O'Reilly start? Yeah, I think so. Best of luck, Philip. Congratulations. Nuno is apparently just he's gonna be in, right? Ah well, they do be like that sometimes. You don't think Palace will score at home? I'm not saying that. I'm just I'm literally just saying that I don't think it's 100% guaranteed, and I don't think it's 100% Mateta, right? I'm not even sure like what we're trying to do here. Like if I think Mateta has a chance of scoring, but I also think Anderson has a chance of clean sheeting, like that's basically the same thing, is it not? And then there's defcons, there's assists, etc. Like, you know, a lot of things have to go Mateta's way for him to get a great haul, like a nuclear haul. So I don't think I can get the decision so wrong. Same with Paqueta too. You know, he's probably actually the player who actually is more likely to dunk me on the forehead. Um, if you spam a lot in chat, I'm just not going to answer the question. Start Rogers or Stack. I'd start Stack. Are Holland minutes a risk? Like, what are we talking about being a risk here? I guess like he could play 70. Do you like Bowen as a pick? Because I've got a feeling you want him later on. Well, just get him later on then. I don't really think Bowen necessarily becomes a better pick personally. Lock Fran, yeah, I'm locked. Kudos or Reinders. I think the team is fine. The team is fine. I'm aware the Potter's sacked. I just don't think that really changes my decisions. Why Anderson over Paqueta? Just clean sheet odds for Fulham are not too bad. Defcon as well exists, so you know why not take the chance? Not that Fulham I think are also much better than Aston Villa. Hey mate, bench one Caicedo, Reinders, or Njai. Um, I'd bench Caicedo. You're locked in. Good luck, guys. Drews or Paqueta? I'd play Drews by home. I feel like you're forced to triple captain this week. There's nothing wrong with triple captaining. It's Burnley at home. Can we have Guecky in the team? I mean, sure we can. Just replace Lacroix with him, right? You for Charleston? Do you play him? If yes, who do I sub off? Sub off Anderson. Really love your content. Thank you, Navadip. It's really different and refreshing. Thank you. Hope that you have a cracking question ahead. Play Caicedo Mateta. I'd play Mateta. Is Munoz fixture proof? Not quite, but he's pretty close to it. Hypothetically, which one of your starting four defenders would you bench? Anderson. Who to start, Minte or Bowen? I'd start Bowen. Fran, Romero, Tarkovsky on a wild card. I'd go Tarkovsky. Do you think Wood would start? I don't actually think so, but we'll see what happens. Would to Yokkers this week or next? I'd probably still do it next week, just on the principle of the fixture being so poor. Isn't Paqueta more attacking? I don't think so, no. Or is it because West? It's just it's a home versus away thing as well, and Paqueta isn't that much more attacking. No, he scored one screamer versus Chelsea, which was, whether you say that's a screamer or a Sanchez howler, I don't really know. But he's like Dewsbury Hall's actually gotten probably more XA than Paqueta, like more NPXGI in general. So yeah, I feel Dewsbury Hall's a good pick still. Happy with him. Why bench Mateta? Because I'm playing Anderson. Do I watch the Ryder Cup? No, but I'm following it. Enzo / Reinders / Kudus. Pick two to start. I would go Reinders and Enzo. Start Munoz or Stack? I'd start Stack. Why is no Spurs players? I mean, I wildcarded out of them, so that's why. This isn't a wildcard, right? Also, Mateta and Anderson and got a bench one. It is a coin flip, personally, to me. Mateta Paqueta. I don't know. I'd go Mateta personally. I do like just backing home games, but sometimes it's close, right? For example, like if Anderson was playing at home, like it would be a no-brainer for me to play Anderson. But honestly, because Aston Villa are so bad, like I don't mind taking a chance on them continuing to be bad. It's not like Aston Villa have played well at home, right? By any means. Like these are Aston Villa's home results recently. 0-3 to Palace. 1-0 beating Bologna. Draw versus Newcastle, which to be fair was quite impressive, but they actually spent most of the match just getting decimated. So yeah, like they've just not been impressive, right? So hopefully Anderson can do something for me. But I almost see it as like if I was to say expected points for all of these players, like it'd just be around 4-ish, right? And at that point, I just need to get the 50-50 right. And there's no real guarantee of being able to get that right anyways. So I'm just backing, like, let's say, certain results that I think that just help my team out. It's very hard for me to say that Mateta has perfect minutes this week, especially with some more depth being added back into this team. So that's one thing. And then, yeah, I mean, new manager as well. Like a new manager can't negatively impact Paqueta. Like they could be slightly better as a team, from attack, from defense, whatever. But it doesn't necessarily mean, it's going to be much better. If Arsenal lose and Liverpool wins, do you think the title race is over? No, because I think. I mean, when do Liverpool actually have a bad run of games? Because they've gotten away with a few so far. This is Liverpool's bad run of games, right? It would be the Chelsea match as well, and then they've got City in the distance. Yeah, like I'm gonna say no for now, but we'll see. No, but more variants, right? What do you mean by that? Sorry. Who would I start out of Wirtz, Munoz, and Konsa? Probably Wirtz. Reinders and Jai. Reinders. Virgil Tarkovsky. I would go Tarkovsky in the wild card, but if you want to go Virgil, that's fine. I clearly went Virgil 2 weeks ago. What do you think of Richarlison? Yeah, I think Richarlison's great for the wild card. 30 seconds. Yeah, guys, I'm locked in. All right, best of luck. Triple captain's active, looking good. First bench is going to give me pain. Second bench is going to give me pain. Third bench could also give me pain, but that's FPL for you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and please make your decisions right now. 8 seconds left. Triple captain Dewsbury Hall. Not on my watch. Oh, forgot to change my vice. I hope that worked. Did it work? Maybe not. There's no cookies today, guys. I've got a matcha latte, but that's about it. All right. Thank you all. I will see you guys soon. Enjoy the weekend, and hopefully, I mean, let me think about the order of pain for a lot of this. So I'll get to watch Crystal Palace vs Liverpool, and that could give me some immediate pain, which will be fun. I guess Dewsbury Hall vs Paqueta is a late game, so I don't really mind that so much. And then I get to watch Anderson lose a clean sheet nice and early versus Villa tomorrow. So I guess I just have to survive Mateta and I'll feel a bit better about myself. And I think that's okay. 3 dice rolls. All right. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon. Please like the stream. Please subscribe. And yeah, have a lovely game week. And best luck with Green Arrows.